So when it comes to playing retro games, I've really been enjoying the Anbernic RG Rotate. However, when this device was first announced, one of the big selling points of it was the fact that it could also double as a dedicated music player. But how good is it at actually playing music? Let's find out. So when this was first announced and advertised as a dedicated media player, one of the first things that people pointed out was the lack of a headphone jack, which obviously kind of defeats the point. However, we do have this USB-C here, so I was able to get off Amazon. I just got this little Ugreen DAC. So this just plugs in and allows you to connect a pair of normal wired headphones. I'll leave a link to this in the description below. It was about a £5. It wasn't that expensive, and I like this one because a lot of them tend to have wires, so that's like an extra bit of tension. However, with this, because it's like a hard plastic shell, it's quite low profile, and the fact that it kind of pokes out to the side as well rather than kind of straight, so that's nice. And I've also got just a pair of standard Apple earbuds. Didn't even know they still made the wired ones, but evidently they do. So this is Squarepod, and this is the app that I'll be using primarily. So for those of you who had iPod Classics or iPod Nanos, then this might seem very familiar to you. So we've got our little music library. I've loaded up a couple of albums on here. We've got our now playing screen. We've also got a cover flow, which is, again, if you had the iPod Classic, this was a way you could quickly browse through your albums, which I always did like, although I do need to go through and populate some of the artwork because it appears to be missing. You also have your all songs, which is all alphabetical, and we have our artists. Well, it appears to have done Alice in Chains twice because one of them's capitalised and one of them's not, so that's kind of annoying. But it works, it's quite smooth, it's quite interactive, and then we can just scan. So whenever you add new music, then what this will do is you can put it in any folder on your internal storage or your SD card and it will find it. What I ended up having to do when I first installed this was in the RG launcher, there is a few themes that had some background music that I think was Castlevania, I think. So I had to basically delete those themes because it kept pulling through to this and it was very, very annoying. So I found this app online, I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and I ended up making my own fork. The reason I made my own fork is because I also found this app. So this app is Flipx, and if you've used Yarn Reaper on the AYN Thor or another dual screen Android device, then it's very, very similar, where basically it allows you to set two separate launchers, and one will open when you open the device, and then one will open when you close the device. So I thought it'd be a great idea to have, for example, ESDE, which is my main front end, when I open it and ready to game, and when I'm ready for a bit of music, when I close it, it will boot into Squarepod. So as a demonstration, the device is closed. When I open it, it boots into Emulation Station, and I can just play a game, and then when I fancy a bit of music and I close the device, it boots straight into Squarepod. So I had to create my own GitHub fork because the way Flipx works, it wasn't detecting this as an app. So I just added just a couple of lines of code just to basically declare this app as a home screen to allow it to be picked up. So in order to set this up, we're going to need a few apps. So first up, we're going to need Shizuku. Shizuku is kind of like a little terminal that runs in the background, and it allows you to basically run console commands in the background. We're also going to need Flipx, obviously, and we're going to set Flipx as our main default launcher, and that'll give us the ability to have both launchers. And then you're also going to need Squarepod. If you want to do it this way, then you can use my fork of Squarepod. If you just want the app as it stands, then you can use the link to the original version, which I'll also leave in the description. So in order to get Shizuku to work, the first thing you have to do is go into your settings. And then if you scroll all the way down, you'll see where it says About. And then if you scroll down, where you get to build number. And if you tap on this, I think it's 7 times. You can see there it says that I'm already a developer. So you tap on that, I think it's 7 times. It will start giving you a countdown, and then it'll say you are now a developer. So then once you've done that, you can go back, and then if you go to System and you scroll down, you'll see this developer options. And then if you scroll down, you want to make sure you've enabled USB debugging and wireless debugging. So what this is going to do, it's going to allow Shizuku to talk to Flipx and then send the commands when the device is opened and when the device is closed. So in order to get Shizuku, you can go to the link which I'll leave in the description, and then we're going to scroll all the way down until you see the releases, and then we're just going to grab the latest version, which at time of recording is 13.6.0. And then if we scroll down, we just want that APK file, so we'll download that. And then we're also going to download Flipx. So this is also available on GitHub. Again, the link will be below. So same again, there is full instructions here on how to install it, but I will take you through it. So we can just go to the releases and we'll grab that APK. There we go. So now they're both downloaded. Go over to your file explorer and then just install them. So we'll start with Shizuku. So when you boot it up, you're going to see that it's not running. So if you go down to where it says start via wireless debugging and you click this pairing guide, it's going to search for the device. So what we're going to have to do is if we tap that button, it'll take us over to the developer options. And then we're going to scroll down and go to our wireless debugging. We're going to press the name itself, not the toggle. We're going to scroll down and we're going to press pair device with pairing code. And it's going to give you a code. In this case, there you go. So it's detected it, 309775. So I'm just going to 309775. Then I will enter that. And there we go. So now it has been paired. We can go back to Shizuku, which I'll have to, I thought it'd let me go by tapping it, but we'll have to go back to the app. So then we're going to go back and we're just going to press start. So I have found that sometimes you do get this error, in which case I just do it again. So we'll go to pairing, we'll let it search, we'll go back to the developer options in system, and we'll just try it again. It did take me 2 or 3 attempts and then all of a sudden it started working. And there we go. So once you're able to start it, it will boot into a little terminal and then it will close itself automatically. So now that's up and running. We're going to need to tap to manage authorized apps. So we're going to tap into that and then we're just going to enable Flipx just so it can access it. So then we're going to boot up Flipx. So it knows that it's active. If it's not, it will ask you to give it permission or it will request permission. So here is where we set our apps. So on Hinge open, I want to route home to ESDE, and on Hinge close, I want to route home to Squarepod. Obviously, if you've got a different app or a different front end, then you set whichever you like. And then once you've done that, you need to make Flipx the home, because what's going to happen is if we go, oh, it's doing it already. So whenever we press this button, it's going to boot into Flipx. And if we press it again, it will go back to the home screen. The device is closed and it's on Squarepod. And now it's open and it's on ESDE. So there we are. That was the Anbernic RG Rotate as a dedicated music player. And I have to say, it's okay. I'm glad I found Squarepod. I think that does help make the experience a little bit more fun, and fun definitely seems to be the angle that the Rotate is going for. In terms of day-to-day use, I'll probably have a couple of albums on here, and anytime I'm taking the dog out for a walk and I don't necessarily want to take my phone, then this will serve as a nice little backup, especially as it has the lanyard and I can just kind of keep it in my pocket or hook it on my belt. But as a dedicated music player or a replacement for using your phone, I can't see myself or anyone else using it to that extent. If you like this video, I would appreciate a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. If there was a particular angle that you'd like me to explore regarding the Anbernic RG Rotate or another device perhaps, were there some apps that I missed, please leave a comment below. Tell your friends and I'll see you next time.